Okay, good afternoon, class. So, I will be discussing to you about the remaining topics now for the finals. We have first we have to learning to be a better student. Okay, so of course I have to share to you about the objectives, no, of this topic. First, we have to discuss how learning occurs. Now, second, recognize the role of learning in shaping your behavior. And number three, realize the importance of applying metacognition and study strategies in becoming a better student and formulate ways to manage and regulate your own learning experience. So, of course, as an introduction, uh, introduction to be a better student is always one of the best things one can become while schooling. So, of course, kas na itong ginakaingon no nga learning is a lifetime process. Now, even as a teacher, of course, pud mi no magkat-on pud mi, no? Bisag kami nga mga teachers. And as a matter of fact, of course, naay mga butang na wala po namo nahibal-in no nga nahibalaan po ninyo. So, but let us just focus no in an educational aspect wherein the subject to this topic is kamo no as a student. So learning is actually defined as relatively permanent change in behavior that is brought about by experience. So obviously no yung nana through constant change you can say that there is a learning. Kay di mo ta kaingon no nga there is a learning unya the repetition of a wrong behavior still occur. So or else the response of the person is the same as before. So walay learnings na. We can say that the person is learning when there is a change, regardless if it is dako nga kausaban or gamay nga kausaban. Okay? So next no the first topic here, the subtopic is associative learning. What is associative learning? So let me just highlight something. No? Associative learning will occur when we make a connection or an association between two events. How does an association takes place? Okay, class. This is it no nga mo kuano mo occur ang kaning gitawag nito associative learning. Before ang uban class before they are going to drive for uh, a motorcycle, of course they have to start learning with the bicycle. No, that's the very basic the concept there because the people would actually tell you na mas maayo na makakatong kag bike at least dili na ka mabag-uhan no in terms of balancing, in terms of the spatial ability. So mo na siya kinaunhan no, that's the basic. So with that, if there's an instance that you will be exposed no to that particular thing na like for example pag drive mo na kag motorcycle, uh, it will takes place no kay before naka-learn naman ka sa bike. And with that, surely you will not find it very difficult to maneuver the motorcycle. Kailangan kay background about driving, how to drive a bicycle. Okay? Um, napoy lain class nga example of associative learning. So, kaning associative learning, just like for example, ang associative learning class, normally, no, we start from the very basic. Just like for example, during our early years of education, nagsugod tag 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Usahay no, mo learn po tag A, I, O, O. So, with all of those things that we have learned from the early years of education, ato na siyang madala class no nya until such time nga mo ano naka-notice no nga hierarchical ang ato ang pagsaka sa atong grado, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. Nya nagka grade 2 na po nato, nanay mga additional exercises wherein the retentions of the learnings takes place. Just like for example, katong pagbasa na tog A, I, O, O, dungaga na po tog another letter. And that is the reason or that is the reason why that we can be able to read perfectly as we reach to the higher level. So that is one way of uh that is another way, wherein an associative learning takes place. Okay? So ako lang ning highlights class no because it is very impossible for me to read all of this no. So we have classical conditioning. So as introduced by Ivan Pavlov. Now what is the nature of the classical conditioning? So it is actually an experiment conducted by Pavlov no and named um, was named after gipangalan siya og Pavlovian theory. So this is a theory, okay? So conducted during 1927, a series of experiments. So what did Ivan Pavlov do? No, nag-attach siya og tube to the salivary gland of the dog that would allow him to measure precisely the dog's salivation. So like during that time, no, iyang gilalugan before siya maglalog, this is what happened, no, pila ka simple lang. Before niya lalugan ang usa ka iro, magring siya og bell, no? Magring siya og bell. Inigring niya og bell, iya na yun, lalugan ang iro. That is actually the next thing that follow. Okay? Lalugan niya ang iro. It was being done repeatedly until such time nga namday gitawag og unconditioned stimulus. So as unconditioned stimulus during the time nga naabot pa siya, of course, uh, the dog is paano unresponsive pa ang dog no. Wala naglaway or wala ni barog no. But because of the bell no nga iyang gamiton nga kada every time nga maglalog siya gamitan niya og bell na kondisyon na ang dog no nga every time makadungog siya og bell of course the dog will automatically stand up nga magsalivate ang dog because the dog is actually expecting no nga there is someone who will offer a food to him or to her. So inana mo na nitabo sa classical conditioning. So until such time nga gi-remove na no ah imo na siyang i-remove just like for example unsa may gi-remove dili na kuano kanang every time mo bell siya wala na siya i-offer pagkaon iyang gisuwayan og ang dog mo stand up pa ba so ni stand up pod ang dog no stand up gyapon for how many times until such time na the dog kuan na siya no kanang unsay tawag ani kana bang wala na mo kuan ang dog wala na mo barog because after a series pod mabito siyang gitawag og classical conditioning because the nature itself no mo na siyang gitawag na to conditioning kay balik-balik man no mura sa nagkita class no as a human being mao na we are created as the highest form of creation no more than just what any other creations can afford to do no we can actually perform sa mga butang nga dili ma-perform sa mga other like animals. So ang dog naman na sila mind pod. But of course, just like human, kunhuna po na sila no nga if that is something no longer kana bang makabenepisyo sa atoa, of course, what is the purpose? Why do we have to stick onto that or to follow that one over and over again? So yung na pod in associating that one no in the process of learning, una na po no nga sometimes kita nga tao, of course, we get motivated because we are being conditioned by someone no nga every time nga nasa isugo na to tagaan ta niyang reward no or there's a reward given prior to prior sa ihang ihatag nga task nimo. So inana pod until such time nga maanad na ka na even though wala na presence or wala na siya ihatag na rewards nimo, makondisyon na ka ta perform. Okay? So that is the nature of classical conditioning. Okay. Next, we have the operant conditioning. So what is operant conditioning? So we form associations between behaviors and their consequence. So uh, ang giingon diri class as a result of this association, we learn to increase behaviors that are followed by rewards and to decrease behaviors that are followed by punishment. So sa operant conditioning, uh mura siya ginunaon mo the same no but they are different from each other because ang operant conditioning every time nga na kay mabuhat nga nindot no just like for example if your parent will tell you nga dong undangi sana sige duwa na mog email no if karong adlaw dong dili ka magduwa og email tagaan ti ka og 500 so tuod man even though nga you're too eager no to play with ML, to play with your playmates, wala jud ka moduwa, no, because you are thinking about the reinforcement to be given, no. Karon gitagaan jud ka, no, gitagaan kag reward. So paghatag sa imuha og reward, of course, that is something that can unsa man, that can make you feel conditioned. So with that, murag na condition ka, okay, mas nindot ni da kay di na ko moduwa niya tagaan kong mama. So the next day follow. So same lang gihapon, no. Mo siya gitawag og positive reinforcement kanang tagaan ta. Now ang positive reinforcement could be a monetary form of giving rewards. It can be pagkaon, no, pwede. Ah, pwede siya kanang unsa tawag ani? Pwede siya kanang kuan, no, true praises, no. Pwede siya ingana. Okay? So that is the nature of operant conditioning. Now, what about the negative reinforcement? Of course, no, kanang negative reinforcement, that is a tool being used to eliminate those unsa man, mga unnecessary behavior or mga unsa man, mga dili dili maayo, no, nga mga binuhatan. Just like for example, ang usa ka bata, no, magsige pangihi sa iyang purol or anang malibang sa iyang purol. Ah, Abutan ta lang og dili kayo tantong bata, no, mga age niya is 10. Ayan na. So malibang siya, no, malibang mangihi continuously. Nya anay tabo tungod kay ganahan niyang mama nga dili na siya manglibang og mangihi siyang purol kay dako na biya siya, 10 years old na. Ay pabuhat siyang mama every time nga mangihi siya ipa-remove iyang purol niya palabhan sa iya, ha. Ah, so that is the negative reinforcement. Why? Because you are punishing the person. You're punishing the child. And though you are punishing that child, di mo siya pasabot nga inhumane na siya, no. Sometimes usahay, no, kanila, no, realistically na other parents, lucky you are if you are a son of you're coming from a family with a golden spoon. Pero kung pobre ra ka, yanong pamilya ra ka, of course, naturally, ang paagi sa discipline is kana yung bunalan ka, no? Inana. So, that is a negative reinforcement. Na positive reinforcer, like food, water, money, or praise. A negative reinforcer, of course, you're going to apply discipline. Ato lang ibutang og word nga discipline in order para dili siya bugat, no? Okay? So, to make it very simple, punishment na siya, no? So, non-associative learning. What is this? So, involves changes in the magnitude of responses to a single stimulus rather than the formation of connections between stimuli. This type of learning has two types, no? Habituation and synthesization. Now, what is this habituation? So, reduces our reactions to repeated experiences that have already been evaluated and found to be unchanging and harmless. So muna siya, no? Dili siya makadaot. Now sensitization is a contrast to habituation. So sensitization increases our reactions to a wide range of stimuli following exposure to one strong stimulus. So after Typhoon Yolanda, just like for example, shall we say, after the Typhoon Yolanda, no, we have heard, no, how destructive it is, and even those people who witness, no, nga unsa gyud ka kanabang devastating ang typhoon ba, nga nakaguba jud og grabe kay nga mga building, mga balay ana, mga sakyanan, no. The moment na naay bagyo nga i-report na pod na pareha gikusgon sa Yolanda, of course the people will automatically get panic, no. Why? What is the reason why they get panic? Because nakabalo na sila, no. What will happen to them, no, if dili sila mangandam? Kay na naman sila experience before, no. So inana ang sensitization. So next, we have observational learning. What is this? ang pinaka-famous niya ani is kani si Albert Bandura, no? Kinsa man ni si Albert Bandura, he is also a psychologist niya. Asserts that may complex behavior are the result of exposure to competent models. Yes, true to that, no? So by observing other people, we can acquire by observing other people, we can actually acquire knowledge, skills, rules, strategies, beliefs, and attitude. So Bandora's observational learning, also called imitation of modeling. So very famous to that is the Bubu doll, no? As presented by the unsa man sa study no ni Albert Bandora. Okay. Unsa man ni siya no? Tagalan ta mo example from the word itself, observational learning. Just like for example, you really like Stephen Curry, no? Si Stephen Curry kay sikat man siya, may siya mo basketball, no? Even though gamay siya, but he became three-time MVP. So para nato no, it's a great achievement for a person who has a height of 6 flat lang no. Oh, 6 flat lang iyang height. Nya dagko biya ka ng mga nasa NBA. In terms of shooting, he is good. In terms of dribbling, he is good, no? Very impressive. Pero mugbo lang yun siya. Now, imo siyang gikuha, no? Because you really admire that person. Ang uban gali, no? Ano na to nga word, no? Kanag yung gitawag og idol, no? You idolizes that person. Uh, imong sige sundog, yung stepping, kanang the way siya dribble, no? Inana. So, as a result, of course, ni-improve ang imong dribbling, imong shooting, no? Nga skills. So muna, that is an example of observational learning. Another, another example, you are studying automotive. Now, of course, if you're a freshman, bago pa ka, you know nothing about mga kung ano, mga parts, different parts, mga sasakyanan, no? Wala pa kay nahibalaan, no? Even kanang mga minor lang. Now, as you watch your teacher, no, performing a demonstration on how to remove and how to change and how to discover about the different kanang mga kwan, mga ayo-ayuhon sa sakyanan, on the later part, of course, because you observe what he is doing, nakatuon ka, no? That is a product of observational learning. Next, we proceed with metacognition. Now, what is metacognition? It is commonly defined as thinking about thinking. Para dito maglibog, the highest form of thinking. So, or awareness and understanding of one's thinking and cognitive processes. So it is seen as an essential approach to successful learning because it enables individuals to better manage their cognitive skills. So it examined would eventually lead to the identification of one's weaknesses, which can be corrected, thus constructing new cognitive skills. Yes, true to that, no? I will just cite an example about this one. What is metacognition? Is this available or possible to any person? Yes, because no one can actually hinder someone to learn, or no one has the authority no to kanabang imuhang pugngan ang tao ba nga makaton. Dili lang siguro during sa time lang Rizal, obviously there is a deprivation about educating yourself. Pero karon during the present time wala naman no. So this is available to everybody. This can happen to anyone. Nga kung ganahan ka mahimo kang uh, taas imong kaalam kay kaning metacognition, this is the highest form of thinking manggod. Like for example, shall we say when I am going to present to you a picture, mingon ko ninyo nga kung may huna-hunaan nimo kung pakit-unti ka og babay nga naglingkod sa kahoy. So of course, what will happen? Daghan kag mo na ano, could be the movie na imong nakita, kundi by just seeing the picture you can say a lot, no? So makaingon ko nga uh, your cognitive skills really works. Like for example, unsay purpose? What is the purpose? Nganong tagaan man mo sa inyong teacher og essay, no? Essay. Tagaan mo essay instead of ABCs, ABCD, no? None of the above. matching type, no? What is the purpose why we as teacher gave you hats every time that we conducted uh, sa may tawag ani kanang exam? The purpose for that is para mabaid inyong utok, no? Because to tell you honestly, kung 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 mga apply na mo og trabaho, no? Ang trabaho gyud dili gyud ingon nga nag-require lang og basic, no? Sa trabaho napod sila'y exam na ipatik sa inyoha, which is kung inyong hunahunahon gyud lahi, no? Sukwahi sa inyohang sukwahi sa inyohang na experience diri sa eskwelahan. That is the reason why mo na nga uh, mingon jud ko, no, nga it is not about punishing you, but it is um, we are doing that one, no, para matrain na mo daan and preparation for your saman sa inyong future quest. Kay kung sa dinhi pa lang daan gitrain na mo o kanang sayon-sayon lang, dili mo makat-on. So in order for your metacognition to work, of course you have to exercise your your sense of thinking, no, nga ma-exercise siya, mahasa siya sa lain-lain nga sistema, no, nga makahuna-huna mo ma-use ang inyong brain. It is actually supported by a research, no, a study. I can still remember before when I was uh, studying in my abnormal psychology, one of the reason why nga ang tao maka dementia, or kung dili man dementia kanabang gitawag nato og kaning sanay other term ana kanang uyanin na ka ba, dali na ka murag sige sige Bisaya ani nga termino nakalimot ako. Ah, kanang ango-anguhon ka, kanang ango-anguhon ka, the purpose, the reason why nganong giango-ango ka, because you age, no? Unquestionably because you get age, nagkatiguang na ka. Pero one way kuno to prevent uh, anang ango-ango o dementia or ana, one way nga maka-prevent ana is to keep on saman exercising your cognitive ability. In what way? Read kag newspaper, no? Kanang mga tiguang imong kita ka ng mga tiguang na mga abogado, magbasa na sila og mga newspaper, mga ana, no? Still, they want their cognitive ability to functionalize para dili sila madali og kakuan, no, kaango-ango. Hmm. Okay.